Demonic Sweaters.
Billy, the reason the game is called golf is because...
Snare, rim shot, bass, cymbals, bongos.
Hey everybody, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, and hey Praise, hey Luca, thanks for coming by, and glad to hear your drumming. That's really cool. Sorry, I cut the song off there early because, well, I just didn't feel like waiting, and some of you are already here. So, hi Graham, how's everybody doing today? So, I just got home actually from grocery shopping. So what are you drumming on, Praise? What kind of drum set did you get? A Zoom meeting? Well, let's just keep the live stream going. But I do lessons, though, if you are interested in that. You can contact the school that I work for, and then we could do a Zoom lesson if you want to do something like that. The school I work for is DEA Music and Art. I'll send the link here in the chat. So I think this is it, deamusicandart.com. Let me check that to make sure. Yeah, so every Thursday I teach online. Let's see. And yeah, that's the address. So there's a place there where you can sign up for a free trial. And you could do that, and then they'll set one up for you with me, if you want. So, okay, Mendini. Yeah, they sell a lot of drums now on Amazon, right? I think I got one of those, or there was one of those over at one of the schools I was teaching at originally, but we replaced it with a different one. So, Graham Richardson, I just got a Alesis Nitro Mesh because I want to learn drumming and volume. I like your videos. Thank you so much. And Nitro is a great one to start with. I have a lot of students that use those. And they're a good kit. I mean, I was planning on making a video because I get a lot of people asking me like why I sold mine. And I was going to make a video on that, but I might as well. Well, I probably still will, but because some people don't watch these streams. But I wanted to mention why I sold mine on the stream, and that's because I just don't have space. I mean, I have a lot of equipment that I use for, YouTube and making music and stuff like that. And I kind of just have to get rid of stuff, even if I like it. I have a lot of stuff, that just accumulates over time, and I have to basically, do something with it. And when I get more and more stuff, I just have to get rid of some of the old stuff because there's just no space for it. So, but that one went to one of my friends, so it's in good hands. My friend Chiaki has it, and she's using it, and her husband Osamu both play the drums, and they're over there at their house. And it's in the Rock From Home video, actually, with Chiaki playing it in that video, because that was like right after I sold it to them. But yeah, I mean, that's why. I mean, I would keep it. Believe me, I would love to have a lot more space and keep all of this stuff that I have or that I've gotten, but I just can't. There's just, living in Brooklyn, there's just no space, and rent and storage and everything is so expensive here. Basically this one little area plus my other one little area where my acoustic drums are, that's pretty much all I have. But yeah, Luca says cymbals aren't drums, right? Well, technically no, but they're considered percussion, like they're in the drum family. Why? Let's see. Praise says I have an iPad mini. Well, that's cool. iPads are oh, you mean for the lesson? Well, that would work. Yeah, you could use an iPad mini for Zoom. Or if you have an iPad mini, then FaceTime's usually better than Zoom. At least I think it is. It's a lot easier. You can just call somebody. You don't have to set up a meeting or anything like that, like how you have to do on Zoom. But some of my students use Zoom, though. That's fine, too. I basically can use anything. I can use Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, FaceTime. Pretty much all the stuff out there I can use. So, yeah. Just drinking my coffee, my afternoon coffee. And sorry, somebody wanted to walk by here. And I have roommates, so sometimes I have to help them stay private, and I need to cover the camera. But anyway, let me think. What should I talk about? Sorry, I didn't have a lot of time to plan because, like I said, I was out running errands. Usually the stream day is like the day that I go out to do grocery shopping and things like, stuff that I have to do before getting onto the stream. And then today I was cutting it close. I basically just got home and was able to make a cup of coffee and sit down and immediately start the stream. So got here just in time. Yeah, but you guys, I don't know if all of you saw the TD6 hybrid kit that I made, and I've been having a lot of fun with that thing. And Google Meet, yes, praise. I can do Google Meet too. Lord Raja says just chillin' is nice too. Yeah, that's true. What was I talking about? Scatterbrained. Oh yeah, the TD6. So I made another video on that one, and that should be, or will be, premiering tomorrow morning at around 9 a.m., but you can watch it anytime. And for the new one, I did a song off of my album Turn of the Scroct. I did the song Mercury Werewolf. And so I played the hybrid kit along to that song. And that was actually a lot of fun because when I originally recorded that song, I used my pad controller. So it was like electronic, finger drumming on the original version. So to kind of translate what I did there into a drum set was cool. And I think the sound quality came out really, really good. I still need to work out a little bit of the bugs on my snare drum. I don't know if it's because I'm sure I could do it. I just need to get the settings right. It's still double triggers, here and there, just a little bit. It's barely noticeable. I mean, you can hardly even notice it. And I think it only did it one or two times. And Praise asked if I could do it at 1 p.m. You mean the lesson? Well, you'd have to talk to... I don't know. I have to talk to the school. 10 a.m. is probably too early, but I think 1 p.m. is available, I think. But you have to talk to them because they handle my schedule there. So if you or your parents or somebody talk to them and they'll set it up. I don't handle any of the logistics of my lessons because, for one, I don't like to do that. I like to... just do the teaching and not have to worry about payment and scheduling and all that, calendars and all that stuff. So they handle all that for me, and I just do the teaching. But yeah, I do have and I also have a slot just opened up. One of my students just stopped. So there's one, I think, at 3. I know 3 is available. And 1 p.m., yeah, I don't think I have anybody that early yet. So that's probably doable as well. So, but confirm it with them. And you can sign up for at least a free lesson. And then if you do the free lesson and you like it, then you can sign up to do more. So just check that link. It's deamusicandart.com. And they're really, really cool people. I've been over there. I used to go there. There's some videos of that actual school on my channel. It's actually in Staten Island, which is kind of far from me. But I used to go over there, and I taught a summer camp over there. And I used to teach in person there. But since the pandemic, I basically just switched over to doing all online teaching with that school. And then I was at a second school in Brooklyn. But that one, it closed down in the pandemic, and then it started to reopen, and they were going to do lessons again. And then like the week before they were going to do it again, that neighborhood had another coronavirus outbreak, and so they closed it down again. So I never got to go back. So I don't know what's going on. Like maybe I will go back eventually to that one too, but for now it's just right now only the one school and only online. And Praise says AM at Marbot Theme School. What's Marbot Theme School? Marbot Theme School? I'm going to Google that. Forgive me if sometimes people say things and I just don't know what they're talking about. Other times it's like an obvious joke that I miss. So let me Google this. Marbot Traditional Theme School. What is this? I guess this is just your school. Okay. Where is Marbot? Where is that? Oh, is that Georgia? And Lord Dronza says crazy, huh? Crazy? What's crazy? What are you referring to? So, I really have nothing to talk about. So, feel free to ask me questions. Praise. Oh, okay, that's cool. And then Lord Dronza says how all this pandemic story sounds so realistic. Surrealistic. Yeah, that's true. Very true. It's very weird. It's like, I mean, now it's been going on for so long, it almost feels like everybody just thinks that it's, it's just the way it is. It's just normal at this point. I mean, New York City's like, it's not that bad, honestly. I mean, it was a little bad in the beginning, like pretty much all last, at least right now. I don't want to jinx it. But last, winter, the beginning of the year, and then like in the spring, it was pretty much a ghost town here. Like you go outside. I mean, people weren't really even supposed to go outside, but if you did go outside, there was like nobody out, which was really weird, like to see New York City that way, because it's usually just, there's so many people here, and usually everywhere you go is just full of people. But now it's kind of back to normal. Like you go out and there's a bunch of people everywhere, except for certain things. Like if you go, I don't know. I heard the airport isn't as crowded, but I haven't been there. But I heard it's not that bad. But I mean, restaurants are less crowded because they have limited seating, limited capacity. But I'm still, we still go out. It's not like we're not going out to eat. We didn't for a while, but now we are. I mean, we went out to eat just the other day, and I'll probably go out later this week. And it's actually kind of nice, with the limited seating. And then also there's a lot more outdoor seating. There used to not be that much, especially in Brooklyn. So now they like closed off a lot of like areas on the street where they put up tents, and the restaurants can have seating out there inside of the tents. And they're not like camping tents. They're like these, like boxed off like tent areas. Except some of them, we went to one, me and Victor went to one that like it was in Chinatown in Brooklyn, and it was a hot pot place. And I love hot pots, but this one they had like the outdoor tent area was like a brown tarp or a blue tarp, and you couldn't see through it or anything. So it was like it was kind of scary. Like we didn't want to sit out there. They sat us down, and there's cars driving right by, but you can't see them. And basically you're sitting on the street in this like dark tent. Like, I was like, this just makes me nervous, because people lose control of vehicles all the time. You could be sitting there eating and like just to, like have some big truck slam into you or something, So I was like, I'd rather eat inside. I'll risk the virus, compared to being hit by a truck. I'd rather. It just seemed like scary, so it wouldn't be so bad if you could see through it. Like most of them have like clear plastic, but this one was just. I think I have a photo. I do have a photo. Let me find it. Let's see. Oh, I have the Can You Draw Me photo up here right now. And I wanted to talk about that too. Bear with me here while I'm looking. All right. Where is that thing? I think I need to pull up my whole photo library to find it. I know this is terribly exciting to look at me while I'm searching for a photo. Oh, wait. Here it is. Oh, it was blue. Okay. So where is this thing? Open folder. Sorry, it's taking me a little while to find. Here it is. I mean, it looked kind of cool, but this is basically inside of a box that's just sitting on the street in Brooklyn, Chinatown. And if you don't know what Brooklyn, Chinatown is actually a lot of people who have never been to New York City, well, actually people who even live in New York City sometimes don't even realize that there's a Brooklyn Chinatown. The Chinatown in Manhattan is the famous one that they always show in movies, but the one in Brooklyn is actually way bigger. Like, it's huge. And if you want to get really, really good Chinese food, the one in Brooklyn, well, and there's actually one in Queens too, in Flushing, that also has really good food, but I think both of them, and the one in Brooklyn is just really, really big. And it's a huge neighborhood, and there's just a ton of Chinese restaurants and hot pot places. But anyway, this one, we went inside. We ended up going inside, and as you can see, nobody was sitting out there. I mean, it looked cool, but like I said, there's cars driving like within inches of that thing when you're sitting there, and it's just kind of scary to be sitting there, and you hear this like, and every time a truck or something would drive by, it would be like, and the whole like side of the tent would like blow out and like come back in and flap and make all this noise. We're like, I don't think we want to sit out here. But let's see. Praise, and I'm missing some. Says, this is how I feel of the pandemic, and shows angry face and me pa some. And then Lord Duranja says, really Oriental stuff with that tent on the street. Well, now it's like really Brooklyn. This is all the restaurants have this kind of stuff. Let's see. Do I have a MacBook? No, I have a really, really old iBook. It's like before MacBooks, Apple made something called an iBook, and it's so old it will barely even I can't even do you can't do like modern stuff on it. I mean, it's still pretty cool, but you can have fun with them and record with them and stuff, but it's not like a modern computer. And Root Clementine, hey, how you doing? Hi, I just saw that you were streaming. I have to run to work. Just wanted to say hi. Hello. Thanks for saying hi, and have a good day at work. What do you do for work, if you mind me asking? Or if you don't mind me asking. You guys want to see I'm like running out of stuff to say. Here's a crystal I bought. Check that out. It's fluorite. And it's the same type of crystal I have around my neck here. Right there. This one I bought at like this Native American store in Nyack, New York, that had a bunch of crystals and stuff and dream catchers and everything. And then this one, it's like a really big one. There's actually a crystal store in Brooklyn. that I never knew about until like a week or two ago. And it's called Ruby's Crystals. And they have a bunch of crystals there. It's really cool. I also got like an amethyst and a couple more things. Pretty fun. And I like crystals. I think they're really cool. And Rue Clementine says, I work in a deli. Oh, cool. Very nice. Delis are essential parts of the life, especially here. Well, deli, though, in New York City can kind of mean something else than what it means everywhere else. Like, delis can... Here, they're more like a convenience store that also has food. Is usually when people say a deli in New York City, that's what they're talking about. New York has like its own... It's like its own country, in a way. Because there's certain things here that, like for example, also the delis, they also call those bodegas. And like almost nowhere else in the U.S. they're called bodegas. They're like, they have just any kind of random stuff in there a lot of times. And then they'll have, food. They'll have like a place where you could buy subs and juices and sandwiches and stuff like that. But a deli and other places are usually, more specialized, I guess. Rue Clementine, where do you live? What city are you in? Are you in the U.S. even? And Lord Duranzo, still remember the iBook with El Ubuntu and Milky Tracker video. Yep. Yeah, I still have it. I mean, it's still here. I haven't used it in a while. I usually go back and forth with switching Ubuntu and then Mac OS Tiger, I think is what I put on there sometimes, depending on what I want to do with it. And then Prey says, I have a school Chromebook. Yeah, Chromebooks are super popular with schools. Oh, that's right. Largo, Florida. You told me you were there before. That's right. Yeah, I used to live in that area. I used to live in St. Pete and Clearwater for a little while. It's a grocery store with a deli inside for food. Yeah, I guess it's pretty much the same. But they probably I don't think they ever call them bodegas in Largo, though, do they? I've been watching some movies. I know, like, there's some young kids here, so some of the movies I talk about on here are probably too adult for you. So, but I've recently watched... I'm a fan of some horror films. I recently watched the first 3 Hellraiser films. And, I'd seen the first 2 a bunch of times, like, since forever, a long time ago. But I'd never seen part 3. And I watched it last night, and it is so stupid. Like, I mean, it's pretty funny. But it really... Like, the first 2 are actually really good for the genre. Especially the first one. The second one also, actually, is... The second one is really surreal. The visuals in the second one are really, really cool, and it's really gory. So again, praise. I know you're pretty young, so these movies are definitely adult. So don't watch them until you get older. But the third one is so dumb. Like there's this one of the monsters in it, like one of the Cenobites in the third one that gets created. He shoots CDs, like musical CDs, out of his mouth, and that's how he kills people, is like by shooting CDs out of his mouth. It's really funny. And the plot made no sense at all. It was just like completely impossible to follow, and you're just like, what? Like nothing even made sense. Like you have the puzzle box that, like, if the girl solves the puzzle box, it like summons the Cenobites, but then at the same time, if she solves the puzzle box, it can send him back. And then Pinhead's like there's 2 different Pinheads. One's good, one's bad. And for some reason, the bad one rejoins with the good one at the end, and somehow that makes him go back to, I don't know. The whole thing is just, you're just like, what? Like none of it really even made any sense. Deep, and I'm just talking about this because I have nothing else to talk about. But DBM Drum says, I know this sounds cheesy, but man, the one mic drum recording videos is my intro and permanent subscription to your channel. You should really do collab with C3 Man. I don't know who that is, but cool. Thank you. Yeah, that, I used to do stuff like that a lot with the one mic recording. there's a lot that you can do with that, just manipulating different tracks and copies of tracks and things like that. It's really useful. You can really add some depth to recording by doing that. And that actually works really well on vocals too. You can use a lot of those same techniques on vocals. Let's see. Praise says, sorry, I left my mom MacBook die. Huh? Harry, hello. Yeah, the third one was crap. I can't even remember it. Yeah, it was really, really, I mean, it was funny. It's definitely entertaining in a comedic way, but it is just not. And I know there's like a bunch of them. There's like 9 or 10 of them or something like that. And I haven't seen any of the other ones, and I'm debating if I should watch them or not. I probably will. I'll watch some of them just because I've kind of been on this kick lately. I like Clive Barker. Clive Barker, I think, is a really, really great writer. And I actually read the book, the original novella. It's called The Hellbound Heart. And that was a really good book. It was really, really well written. It's a super fast read. And actually, Clive Barker directed the first film, too. And I think he produced the second one. But I think that's why those were good, because he actually had something to do with them, where the later ones he didn't. And he also, there was a movie that he made as well in like the 90s, I think, called Candyman, which is a classic as well. That one's really good. And Lord Duranzo says, nothing beats Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah, that movie is so good. And it's way creepier than you'd think. When you see it, you're like, wow, that's so dumb. But it really is much better than you'd think. And Praise says it's 2015. Oh, the MacBook. I see. Well, 2015, you could probably still get to run fairly decently, to do pretty decent amount of stuff. That's not that old. Macs will run a long time. I mean, even like the 2012 ones will run. They'll run like kind of the most recent Mac OS, I think. Let's see. Lord Duranzo asks, what's the best horror movie to make you laugh? Or are you saying the best horror movie? Maybe you're saying that Killer Clowns is the best. Yeah, it's well, the clowns themselves are just so crazy looking in that movie. They're really, really cool. Rue Clementine, have I watched Whiplash? No, I never did see Whiplash. It just looked, I don't know. The whole concept of it seemed so far-fetched to me. I was just like, I don't know. Maybe it's good. I know people have said that, but I've also seen a lot of people make fun of it. So I don't know. I never really was interested in seeing it. Maybe I should, though, since I'm a drummer. But I think that's the reason why I never wanted to watch it. Just because I'm a real drummer, and it just seemed so like I don't know what reality those people are living in, but it's definitely not the reality that real drummers exist in. I don't know. And let's see. DBM says, hey, I've used Focusrite Scarlett Solo 3rd generation. Any videos on that? Which one would you prefer, the Behringer Euphoria or the 2 or the Focusrite? I have not used the Focusrite, but I know like everybody likes the Focusrite gear, and they have a very good reputation of just working. And I've used one of the not the Solo, but it was the Focusrite Duo, I think is what it's called, the 2-channel one. I didn't use it personally, but it was with me when I was recording with my friend Satoshi for Echoscape. That was what he had, and so we did use it on my drums, and we combined it with my interface. We used 2 interfaces at the same time, so we could get like 6 channels. And it worked really well. I mean, I know that Focusrite just does good stuff, but the Behringer stuff is good too. The only audio interface that I've ever purchased that I just thought was outright bad is and I've talked about this before, it's the, what is that thing called? The Audio Box. Who makes that thing? PreSonus. It's a PreSonus audio box. It's the only one I've ever purchased where I just thought was outright horrible. And the reason being is the level, the inputs on it were way too hot. You could not get them low enough to record acoustic drums. No matter what I would do, it would just distort. Like with any microphone, they're just they don't have like the proper kind of, the microphone preamps and those things are just wacky. Like they're way too hot. I don't have any idea why they would make it that way. So that's the only one that I think you should steer away from. Most all the other ones I've ever used they've always been good. I mean, I right now have the SSL2, and this is a great interface. It's what I'm talking through right now. And I just love the quality of this, and I love it's got like the top. I can't pick it up right now. Oh wait, I can move the webcam. So I made a video on this, but I really love this interface. It's really nice, and it has these little 4K buttons. Now I did that. You probably heard a change in the quality of my voice a little bit. And what that means, 4K, it's not talking about like 4K video, obviously. It's talking about SSL made a console, a very famous recording console, the 4000 series, and that button emulates the 4000 series console. So that's why it's 4K. So it kind of gives it like the sound characteristics of the 4000 series console, which is like a really famous recording console by SSL. And SSL is great stuff. But yeah, the Focusrite should be fine, or the Behringer. I have a Behringer at the drum room, and I'm really happy with that too. So I think either one should be fine. Let me see. I missed some of these comments. Graham asked, does 2 have a load of different Cenobites or just Pinhead? 2 has a few. Yeah, there's a few different ones. Well, 1 and 2 have pretty much the same Cenobites, and then 2 has there's one extra Cenobite in part 2. Part 3 is just Pinhead with all different Cenobites, and all the new Cenobites are really dumb. Like, they're just completely ridiculous. Linda Millard, hey, how you doing? My 10-year-old has gotten into Friday the 13th movies. Oh, no. Those are really bloody. Praise says it's 2. The what? Harry Sentenberry. Coil was supposed to do the soundtrack. DBM drums. Which double bass pedals do you use? I use a PDP. I think it's the 502 or 520 or something like that. Pacific Percussion. Pacific Drum. Is that what that stands for? Pacific Drum Percussion. Is that what that means? PDP. Anyway, they're like, DW's lesser brand, but it's really good. I've had it for I think I got that thing in 2008. So I've had it for a really long time, and it's really lasted. And they're very reasonably priced. They're only like $160 brand new. Whereas other ones can be really, really expensive. And to me, I've had DW pedals. It feels exactly like a DW to me. It's got the same exact kind of setup and action on it, same kind of chains, same kind of sprockets. It really feels exactly like a DW 5000. I can't tell the difference. And I've played both of those pedals. I've never had the 5000 double, but I had the 5000 single. And to me, it really seems exactly like it. Let's see. Linda says JK was great in Whiplash. Yeah, well, he's a great actor. I mean, no doubt about it. He is really, really good. But yeah, I still haven't seen it. And Rue Clementine. Oh, wait, I missed some of these. Praise says this is Mac OS X. Yeah, Mac OS X is a great OS. I really like it. Lord Doronzo, man, the acting in Whiplash was top notch. Rue Clementine, what Flash has some of the best... Wait. Oh, Whiplash, I think, is probably a text-to-speech thing. Has some of the best acting of any movies I've ever seen. Wow, that's pretty high praise there. Andrew Conkey says it's super hard finding a hoop for a 20-inch bass drum here in Texas. Really? That seems like that would be... 20-inch seems like it's pretty common, but I guess these days it's less common than it used to be. Now it's kind of like 18 is the new 20. There's like more 18s than 20s out there. It used to be 20 was the little bass drum a long time ago, and 22 was the standard. And now it's like the little bass drum is 16. And then they have, 18 is a very common size these days. I have an 18. I have an 18 and a 14-inch bass drum. And then what else? Yeah, like 20, I guess. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of 20-inch. You don't see a lot of 20-inch bass drums anymore. And I actually really like the 20-inch size. I think that's a great size. I think it sounds awesome. But I don't have space. Actually, I like 18s too. Like I think an 18 can sound just as big as a 20 or a 22 even. My little 18 on my Club Jam Mini, I think sounds phenomenal. That's a really nice sounding bass drum. It's thin. It's only like it's an 18 by 10, I think, and it sounds great. It's crazy how good that thing sounds. DBM, yeah, the Junk Drummer TV reaction on Whiplash is pretty hilarious. Haven't seen that. Lord Dronza says, for me, the Focusrite ones are more for a reputation thing than prestations. But for the money, I don't know what that word is. But for the money, Behringer UMC HD ones are quite unbeatable. Yeah, I think those Behringer ones are fine. They sound really good. Rue Clementine starting to work now. See you later. Bye. Have a good day at work. And Praise is eating rice. Cool. DBM drums. Why no drum covers? Well, I don't want to do drum covers. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't know. I would rather make original music, personally. I mean, some people like to do them, but to me, it just feels... I don't know why I would want to do somebody else's music when I could just make my own. And I feel, to me, it's a much more creative thing. You know, not that there's anything wrong with doing drum covers, but personally, I don't watch them. Like, I have no interest in seeing them, so I have no interest in playing them, personally. That's it. Praise, LOL. And who did I vote for? Well, I don't like to get political on here, but I'll say that I did not vote for Donald Trump. David Bigham. Yo. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I don't like to get political on the channel very much because it really polarizes people. And I try to keep my own, thing going on here. And I also like to give kind of a safe haven away from that stuff because everything's way too political. There's just way too much politics out there. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. So I like to be an escape from that. And some people might think some of the things I say are political or left-leaning, or I've even had people tell me, I don't know. It's funny. Like if you have any kind of moderate opinion these days, people call you either left or right extremist or left extremist. Like if you're moderate, like it doesn't make any sense. But I just try to avoid it because people they're way too sensitive about it. It's like I don't know. I think generally people just want kind of the same things, mostly. Let's see. DBM drums. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of selling my Pearl Dominator. P932. Stupid nuts gave out. Good thing those were under a warranty. But I will check the PDP double bass drum pedals, if only import duty. Yeah, Pearl stuff, man. I have never had good experiences with Pearl hardware. Their drums are fine. I like the drums, but literally every single piece of Pearl hardware I've ever purchased has fallen apart. So I just never buy anything by them. I don't know what it is about it, but I had a hi-hat stand that fell apart. I had cymbal stands that fell apart. I had mounting hardware that literally broke off as I was turning it before on a Pearl tom. Like, they just can't make hardware. I don't know what it is. And I know some people love their pedals. They really swear by them, but I don't know. That's one of the things that, like, when people are praising those Pearl electronic drum modules and stuff, I have a really very skeptical and very reserved, or I probably just wouldn't buy one just because of my impression of Pearl and, their quality or lack of quality and, just how easily their stuff breaks, in my opinion. And those modules are so expensive that where I'm like, I don't know if I would trust spending like $1,000 or over, or $2,500, however much money they are. I think they're like $2,500 on a piece of Pearl equipment. just because I don't trust that it will last. I don't know. DBM was a little less in India. I would have bought the PDP. And Graham, I vote for the lovely Queen of England where I live. David Bigham, how's my day been? It's been good. Thank you. Busy. I mean, I went grocery shopping and was running around doing some errands, but found a parking spot right in front of my building, which was great. Which is not... what are you mad about, Praise? Yeah, finding parking spots here sometimes isn't easy. Sometimes you'll be driving around for like a half an hour. Okay, I'm going to play a song. Give me a little break from talking here for a second. I have to go to the bathroom too, so. Let's see. What should I play? You guys want to hear another new one? Let's play another new one. Let's see what we have. Or maybe I could play something unreleased. I have a lot of stuff. Let's see. Mixes. What's in the archives folder? Let's see. I don't know if any of these are unreleased or not. I know there's got to be something that's unreleased in here. No, that's all. Let me read some of these comments here. DBM says, I actually had that type of hardware maintenance issue with both Pearl and Tama. Really? Tama I've never had an issue with. Because I don't know. Tama stuff I always felt like was the sturdiest. And DBM says, yeah, play your stuff, man. What about Mapex hardware? Well, I actually just picked up my first ever Mapex bass drum pedal the other day. It's in my last video about the last drum vlog. I show it in there where I'm making the hybrid drum kit. I picked up this Mapex. It's not here with me, but I picked up this Mapex pedal to use on... I was going to use it for a different project, but the way the pedal was designed, it actually didn't work because I wanted to put one of those reverse beaters on it for, you know, the Roland kick drum thingy that goes on the floor, but it wouldn't fit because the way that the beater goes through, it's just kind of hard to explain without showing you. I don't have it here. It's in the studio. But anyway, it wouldn't work. So I took it to the studio and I switched it out with my Tama Classic pedal, which I have right here. And this is an absolutely excellent pedal. This thing is great. But this will work with the project that I want to do it with it. But that Mapex pedal, what I'm trying to say, I like it a lot, actually. It's old. It's a really old one. I've never seen an old one like that. And honestly, I've never owned anything by Mapex until that one pedal. And I think it feels great. It's just a simple, you know, like old bass drum pedal, but it feels really nice. And it looks cool, too. And let's see. David Biggins says, never had any issues with my Pearl hardware, but I've heard similar scenarios with Pearl's hardware being sketched. So I guess it's a love-hate relationship with Pearl hardware for each person. And yeah, I don't know what it is. But like I said, they're drums. I've had some Pearl drums that I really liked and really liked the sound of them. But I've just always had a low opinion of their hardware. David Bigham says, nice, man. Glad your days are productive and chill. And Praise, do you have the new iPhone 12? No, I have an iPhone 11. And Dom says, creeping in late. Love the gear talk. I'm drawing up an album cover right now. Sweet. Got a couple more days. Oh, that's what I want. I do have something to talk about. So I'll wait on the song. Play that here in a second. So let me get the cover back up here. And just talk about the contest here for a minute. And let me find it. I should really make these things easier to get to. Okay, that is huge. Let's resize that. Ah. Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm getting frustrated with OBS, that's all. It doesn't ever remember, like, when you have something set a certain way, then when you open it up again, you have to redo it. It's really annoying. I mean, I guess I could set up scenes, and that's kind of what they're for, but I never do that. Okay, so here we go. Can you draw me contest? Okay, I wanted to remind everybody that the contest deadline is December 3rd for you to draw this, and you can send it to the email down below. And I had mentioned before that the prize is going to be an Alesis Nitro module, electronic drum module, as well as your cover art will be the replacement cover on the Bandcamp page. But, well, that's all still true, yes. But I'm adding to it. Well, I added to it a little bit last time. You're also going to get a free copy of the Minnesota self-titled LP on 180-gram vinyl. And then I'm making actually a big edition here too. So now whoever wins, I'm actually going to give you an option to either take the Alesis Nitro module or a Roland TD7 module. Because I have both that I could part with here. And I know that if you want to do like your own conversion kit, then the TD7 is going to work better. Because it has more, basically like more fine-tuning settings in it. Now, keep in mind, the TD7 is a very old drum module. It's a lot older than the Alesis. But that's not to say it doesn't sound really good. I think actually the Roland one sounds great. And also the Alesis one, it's a little bit modified because not anything inside is modified, but the mounting post of it is cut off. Because I had to have it set on my desk. So you basically would have to sit it on like, a small table or something to use it instead. Or you could probably attach some type of mount to it somehow. But the original one is not on there. So I wanted to mention that. Then I was thinking about that and I was like, well, then maybe it'd be good to offer an option. So you can either take the Alesis Nitro module or you could take the Roland TD7 module. And the TD7 is 100% complete and sounds great. Has, you have to buy a mount, to go on the bottom of it to be able to mount it, but you can buy those, I think, for like $14 or something on Amazon. They're really cheap. So if you're looking to do your own conversion drum set, that TD7 would definitely be the way to go, as opposed to the Alesis Nitro. Now, the Alesis Nitro, if you already have like a Nitro and you just want to add more, and add more drums and stuff to it, then maybe that would be better for you. So it's up to you. I'll leave it up to whoever wins, whichever one they want, if they want the Nitro or if they want the TD7, and it's totally up to you. So either way. So yeah, that's the contest update. We have a couple more days, 2 more days until the deadline. And I've gotten a lot of really great submissions and really, really awesome. I'm really happy with all of them. And it's going to be really hard to decide. Like, I'm going to have to it's going to be tough. I'm going to have to really, really look and think about, which one I want to be the winner. I almost wish I didn't have to decide. And then I was thinking maybe I should do a vote, but then I don't know. I still think I want to pick it. But it's going to be a tough decision. But also all of the submissions, I'm going to create a whole section on my website at demonicsweaters.com with all of the different artworks. Like every single one that was submitted will all be in the gallery there, and they'll all be bonus items when people purchase through Bandcamp. They'll all be included in the download. So everybody's cover will be included. The winner will be the cover on Bandcamp, and then the winner will get either an Alesis Nitro module or a Roland TD7 module, as well as a vinyl, 180-gram vinyl copy of Minnesota self-titled. So, hello, Praise. Hi. And let's see, Harry Sittenberry says, I heard In the Park last week. It was good. Oh, thank you. Thanks. That was, In the Park it's definitely one of the more experimental ones. But I like it too. Thanks. That one, though, the story behind In the Park, a lot of that stuff was kind of like songs that I was sort of put together for different projects on YouTube and like 4-track recordings and experiments and stuff like that. And then eventually I just had enough to fill up a whole album. And that's what basically how in the Park came to be. I just put all this stuff together and it created an album. And a couple of my albums are like that. There's another one too, the 2080s, which is also like that. It's basically like different demos and stuff that I had made for YouTube and various projects and things. And it just built up to where I had so many, and I was just like, I'll just put them all together and release an album. And sometimes that's what happens. Some of them are more planned out, where I have like, I'm consciously thinking that I'm working towards making an album. And like Turn of the Scrocked was that way. The most recent one, Can You Draw Me, was that way. I had an idea and put it all together. But then some of them are more like compilations of just stuff, that like, because I'm always making music. I'm always recording. And, I just have to figure out what to do with them. Like there's some songs that are just on YouTube. Like there's several songs that I made for videos on here and they're just nowhere else. And I can't remember what any of those are called right at this moment, but I know there's a few. So yeah. All right. So I'll get to playing a song now. And I'll play something off of In the Park since you brought that up. Let's see. Can I get to that easily? Okay, it must be in a different folder. Let's see. There it is. All right, I'm going to play Night Gallery. Song Night Gallery off of In the Park. Here we go. And I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, that was Night Gallery off my album. Hold on, I need to stop it before the next one starts. Off my album In the Park. And yeah, that one was recorded. Oh, thanks, Dom. The beats are sick. Thank you. And Nick Z asks, what's the weird effect symbol you're using in this track? Well, there's a couple, actually. There was a stacker. I had it was a Meinl HCS trash crash on top of a 16-inch crash cymbal, like generic crash cymbal. I had those set up as a stacker, and then I also had a Meinl HCS bell cymbal being used, so that the bell cymbal you hear in there in some parts, and then there's the trash stack. And I wish I had room to set those up right now. I still have them because I love using those effect symbols, but I just don't have space in my drum room to set up any more cymbals. So I'm actually, now that I have my my hybrid kit in there, yeah, that bell, that's the HCS bell. Nick Z says the bell sounds so good. It's like $40, and it is the best bell cymbal you can buy, like hands down. I've compared it to all the other bells, like like all the expensive ones. None of them sound nearly as good as that HCS bell. That thing sounds insanely good, and it's so loud, and it's got a low pitch to it too, where all the other ones have this like high pitch to it, but that HCS bell just sounds incredible. Definitely worth picking those things up. They're really, really good. But that one, I recorded that song. There's a video for that song, actually. It's pretty old, but you could find it. Just search Demonic Sweater's Night Gallery, and you'll find it. But that was recorded. All the music I programmed on an old... Well, it was done on a Raspberry Pi, but running an Amiga computer operating system or software. So it was all done with like really, really old, like 1980s music software. And then I just added live drums to it. And the drums were recorded on my, on my Zoom PSO4, that little handheld digital recorder. And I think it was just with two mics. It was like two ribbon mics. There was one in the front and one overhead, and that was it. Yeah, that thing, I thought it came out really good. But I remember when I recorded that song, I was really tired when I recorded that song. And you could tell in the video, well, I could tell in the video, because I was working, at the time I was working for this company called Lux, where I was like, I had to walk like miles and miles around the city because I would have to pick up cars and move them around. And Graham said he liked the drums. Thank you. And Graham, that was boss. Thanks. The synth sounded nice and lo-fi. Yeah, totally. Oh, but part on that too, part of the Amiga stuff that I recorded was also done on my tablet. Because you can run those Amiga emulators on the Pi and on a tablet. And so when I was working for that company, I was walking around. The working title of that song for a long time was called McDonald's. And the reason why is because when... like in between, this was a really weird job that I had. I used to have to walk, like I said, to different parts of the city and pick up cars and move them. And some of the times, like in between the jobs, there'd be nothing to do. So you'd just be waiting around. And I would often wait around at McDonald's because that was one of the only places where you could just sit where they wouldn't throw you out. And so I composed a lot of the music to that while sitting and waiting in McDonald's on an Android tablet. And so for a long time I just called the song McDonald's until I ended up like putting it on the album. That's when I came up with Night Gallery. But yeah. But yeah, that one, the song, and that was another thing too, is I made the music like a long time before actually putting the drums to it. And I think I even had like some electronic drums programmed to it earlier, but then I eventually went back and put some actual drums. But like I was saying, I was really tired when I was recording it because back then I had like, I had this studio that I shared with Ronan that was really far away from my apartment, and I didn't have a car then, and I was riding my bike everywhere. And I used to have to lug all of my recording equipment on my back in my backpack, like all my mics. I didn't like to leave my mics there because people always messed with them. And then I would ride, 6 miles to the studio on my bike, or longer than that. I think it was like 11 miles actually, to the studio on my bike, and then set everything up, all the cameras and all the mics and all that stuff, and then record. And then, depending on how many, and I think that one took me quite a bit of tries before I got it right, or I was happy with it. And so by the time I finally recorded it and got a take that I was happy with, I just remember being exhausted, and it was really, really hot too. There's like sweat dripping off of me when I'm playing it. And that studio used to get super hot. There was no AC in there. And that place was like really, aside from its size, which was great, compared to what I have now. But other than that, it was far and expensive and no AC. So, it wasn't expensive for me. Ronan gave me a good deal, but I know he paid a lot for that place, more than I would pay. Harry says, real drums and synth sounds are the best for any percussion. Yeah, I really love the sound of drums and synths together. I think they just they blend so well together. I don't know. It's such a cool thing. And ever since I was even a kid, I've always loved that. I was always very attracted to electronics, like electronic music, but drums too. So the combination of real, actual acoustic drums or electronic drums, but being played with electronic instruments, I just think is such a cool sound. And Graham Richard says it's nice to smack drums about, cheers you up. Yeah, it does for sure. Good exercise, definitely. And Harry says, I like loud drums too. That was just the right mix. Thanks. Yeah, the drums, they sound garagey, but they sound cool. And I have 2 ribbon mics. There are these 2, is it Samson? Who makes those things? No, Nady. RSM5 ribbon mics. And they're really, really cool sounding microphones. And I love the way they sound into that PSO4. And I used a little tiny Behringer micro mixer to mix the 2 mics into one channel. So it was really just one channel of drums with 2 microphones. Doug Goebel says, I love Cars. The Cars music, me too. I love the Cars. The Cars were such a great band. And they were actually, that's a good one, I think you can hear some Cars influence in my stuff. They would combine a lot of synths and guitars. They were rock, but they were very synth heavy and pop too. And just a really, really awesome band. To this day, I think they were one of the best new wave bands of the time. So good, man. Such great songwriters too, and all their songs were so memorable. I do think they could have used a slightly better drummer though. People get mad at me when I say that, but I don't know. Their drummer was okay, but compared to the rest of the band, he wasn't really up to the, I didn't think he was at the level the rest of the band was, but still, he got the job done. He was good enough. Let's see. Dom says, I think 9 Inch Nails downward spiral drum synth. Yeah, definitely has some of that too. Yeah, of the new wave bands, I'm trying to think who I think the best drummer of that, because when I think of the Cars, I think their contemporaries were the Talking Heads, Devo. Who else? Who else would you consider? The Pretenders, although the Pretenders are more rock than new wave, but Pretenders were great band. Pretenders were all around an awesome band. There was nobody in that band that was not an excellent musician. They were just all so good. I love the Pretenders. I guess the Police. So, okay. Police, without a doubt, hands down, best drummer of new wave bands. There's just no contest. Stuart Copeland, pretty much widely regarded as one of the best drummers to ever live, and definitely the best in the new wave scene, I think. And I also think Devo's drummer, their second drummer, and I can't remember his name right now, was also really, really good. And although not as recognizable as Stuart Copeland, obviously, but really good though. Let's see. Doug says Styx. Styx, I don't know. Would you consider Styx new wave? I would consider them more classic rock, prog classic rock than new wave. New wave, I'm thinking like, Police, The Cars, Talking Heads. Who else did I say before? Nixie, what's new wave? Well, in the early 80s, late 70s, Devo, late 70s, early 80s, when synthesizers first started becoming, mainstream, the late 70s had like early electronic pioneering bands like Kraftwerk and Yellow Magic Orchestra and Yellow. Those type of bands were all like pioneers in electronics, but they weren't really mainstream. But rock was still really popular in the late 70s. But then in the early 80s, you had bands like the Police, even though the Police really didn't use that much synths. They did a little bit, but they didn't have it like an official synth player. But the Cars definitely did. Talking Heads had some. Depeche Mode, yeah. Duran for sure. Depeche Mode, I would say, kind of fall more. Well, yeah, I guess you could consider them new wave, but maybe more on the goth side. But anyway, it was kind of just what people called this music that was coming out with all these synths and just people that they were like the first alternative in a way. Like before, kind of like how grunge became big in the 90s, you had new wave in the 80s. It was like a little bit alternative. It wasn't like mainstream, although it became mainstream. But like Devo, I think, are kind of the most, probably the most stereotypical, or not stereotypical, but the best example of what new wave, in my opinion, sounds like, where it was quirky with a lot of synths, kind of, really new modern imagery at the time. If you look at the video for Whip It, there's almost nothing more new wave than that video. So new wave was, it was kind of like, it's just a really, really cool sound. I love all those bands. I just really like. Talking Heads were more like, I guess a lot of them had this kind of angular sound to them too, whereas like it was, Talking Heads definitely had that kind of like angular and staccato, like like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but Devo had that as well. King Crimson definitely had, even though King Crimson were around a really long time and started out as prog, but they definitely went through a new wave phase where they had a lot of new wave influences in their music. And they sounded like almost like a more complex Talking Heads in the early 80s. Depeche Mode, yeah. Harry says, the passage, shave your head, synth and drums, and whatever. And Nixie, I've heard of Depeche Mode, though. Yeah, Depeche Mode, yeah, you could definitely call them... Oh, Gary Newman. Not Gary Newman. Gary Newman? Did he do the song Cars? Or am I thinking of... There's another Newman that does that I Love L.A. song. Hold on, I need to check. I get those confused. Yeah, Gary Newman. He's the one that did the song Here in My Car. He was definitely a new wave innovator at the time. And that stuff's really cool. So yeah, check it out. Just, go on YouTube and search best new wave bands of the 80s or something like that, and you'll find a whole bunch of compilations or songs. And it's really great stuff. Blondie was another one. I'll do a list here. Let's Google it. New wave bands. So according to Wikipedia, there's a lot. Okay, Aha. I'm only gonna read the ones I know of because there's a lot here that I don't know. Adam and the Ants. I never really liked Adam and the Ants that much, honestly. Or Adamant. Joan Armatrading. She was cool. I have some of her stuff on vinyl. Aztec Camera. The B-52s. Yeah, there's a good one. Bananarama. The Bangles. Berlin. Great band. The Buzzcocks, although I'd consider them more punk. But, it's kind of like there's a lot of crossover between bands. The Cure, like they're on the list here. And I guess, yeah, you could consider The Cure and Depeche Mode new wave, but you could also consider them more goth and alternative. But like the Cars are on this list too. There's a ton. But the Flying Lizards, Robert Fripp. And again, he's from King Crimson. But yeah, there's a lot of crossover. INXS, Billy Idol even, Howard Jones, Grace Jones, Japan. Japan are great. I've talked about them on here before. And they put King Crimson on this list. There's so many. I'm skipping over a lot of them here. Madness were more ska, but still they fall kind of in the new wave category as well. Men at Work, Gary Newman, Pet Shop Boys. Yeah, Pet Shop Boys I think are a good one. Pretty new wavy. The Pretenders, yeah, they made the list. Psychedelic Furs, totally new wave. I love the Psychedelic Furs, great stuff. Roxy Music, very new wave. Who else they have on here? So many. Spandau Ballet. Talk Talk's early stuff, very new wave. Later stuff was very different, but great though. Tears for Fears, definitely. Ultravox. They even put Village People on here. Oh, it says Renaissance era. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to listen to that. Wall of Voodoo. Wall of Voodoo were a really cool band. Very cool stuff. Kim Wilde. Yeah, so there's a lot. Check it out. Let's see. Nixie says, other bands you mentioned, never heard of them other than the Police, Depeche Mode. Never heard a thing from me. Well, check them out, Nick. I'm sure you'll like a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of bands I know, like, because I'm an older generation than a lot of you guys. Like, there's a lot of the bands that, if they weren't really big, that kind of got forgotten about. And there's a lot of stuff worth listening to in there. I'm sure you'll love a lot of that stuff. Stick The Passage on your list, says Harry. Yes. Vince Clarke. I don't know Vince Clarke. I know Stanley Clarke, but that's not new wave. I'm going to Google him. Vince Clarke. Oh, wait. Oh, he was in Erasure. Okay, duh. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, Erasure were great. I didn't realize that was his name, Vince Clarke. Thought it was something else. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to call it for today. We've been going on here an hour and 15 minutes already. So Praise, what's going on? You're freaking out over there. It keeps blocking your messages because you're typing nonsense, but I'm gonna approve them anyways. Oh, oops, I accidentally deleted it. Sorry about that. But it was just a bunch of letters. But not ignoring you, Praise. You just have to ask an actual question. Oh, yeah, Yazoo, for sure. Graham says Yazoo. I love... They were called something else in the U.S. What did they call them? Yaz. I think it was just called Yaz. Good stuff, though. There's definitely some Demonic Sweaters, like new wave inspired albums, like Unlimited Dada. I think has a lot of new wave type sounds on it. There's definitely one song on there that's very Yazoo inspired. Oh, Yannick Che, hey Justin, I'm just passing by. Cool album. Can you draw me? Oh, thank you, man. Very cool. Yannick is a friend of mine here, lives in New York City, and we hang out from time to time. I've worked on some of his music. He also has been on some of the live streams in the past when we did the 10,000 subscriber special. There'll be another special for 20,000, which should be probably sometime next year, I think. The way things are going, should be pretty soon. Very cool. All right, everybody. Let's close it off with one more song. And don't forget to submit your artwork. And everything for... sorry, I was reading. Don't forget to submit your artwork for the contest for the Can You Draw Me cover. And yeah, don't forget, you now have the choice. You can either, first prize, you can either get the Roland TD7 module or the Alesis Nitro module. So I'll leave it up to whoever wins, whichever one they want will be what you get. And yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to sign off right after the song. I'm going to play another old-ish one. Let's play one off of Tracker Adjust. And this one is called Dragonfly Quest, and it's off of my 2016 album Tracker Adjust. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all have a great week. Don't forget to subscribe, click like, bell icon if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys really soon. Take care. So here we go. Dragonfly Quest.